on this episode of The Pulse.
How did one kid take his wish and change hundreds of lives?
What initiatives are in place for student-athletes' mental health?
And an in-studio interview with Provost Robin Cotton.
These stories and more on Sacred Heart's very own monthly news show. I'm Brooke Slavensky.
And I'm Shane Haney.
You're watching The Pulse.
From Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Connecticut, this is The Pulse.
In 2005, the Mikey's Way Foundation was created when Mikey Friedman decided to use his Make-A-Wish in a unique way. Since then, the foundation named for him has grown. This year, a local middle school raised over $7,000 for the cause. Here is Sophie Camizzi with more on Mikey's Way.
Mikey's Way started when my son, Mikey, was diagnosed with a very rare pediatric cancer called desmoplastic small round cell tumor, DSRCT for short. He was given a wish by the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and he chose his own charity. He refused that the first time. What he did to combat that was to ask for a shopping spree. He said, okay, I can't have my own charity, I'll take a shopping spree, because he had this idea: buy high-end electronics and go to the hospitals, circulate the hospital pediatric oncology floor, and let the kids pick off of his cart whatever they wanted that would help them.
It's really been great for me, especially now, because it's a project that I can do, take my mind off of the future, take my mind off of everything that's going on.
So my daughter is a leukemia survivor. Just before she turned 3, she was diagnosed. And when she was under treatment, she had a Mikey's Way Day. And her eyes lit up for like that one magical second. For me to know that little piece of magic that happened here, started here. And then for me to come here and be the principal was just like a way of the universe saying, geez, you're in the right place.
We have every year had something with Helen Keller. The vice principal, Annie Shore, came, and Annie is the only one who knew Mikey. And she said, we want to do something different this year. And she told us about this March Madness. And since Mikey's birthday is in March, we want to do this. And we're not just going to have one fundraiser, we're going to have a month of fundraisers.
I love baking, and I obviously want to help kids with cancer, because I've had family members that have cancer.
These kids are unbelievable, selfless, and they just kept coming up with ideas and ways to raise more money and participating in so many of them. It wasn't, at least to my knowledge, it wasn't just a very small group taking on the whole burden. I mean, everybody was involved.
Mikey's Madness reminded all of us that sometimes school climate is more about just doing more of what's right. So I think when you talk about the climate and culture of HKMS, that's what we are. We are a place that knows that joy and love are what heals and what brings people together, and we'd rather focus on that.
Incredible. What an inspirational story that was.
Absolutely, such a touching story. As COVID guidelines are lifting, Habitat for Humanity's volunteers are able to travel once again. Colleen Schaefer has the story about the Collegiate Challenge program.
Habitat for Humanity is a nonprofit organization that aims to create opportunities for affordable housing. With this in mind, homes are made and communities are made stronger and more stable. Building homes for the community requires a strong team of volunteers. One program that Habitat for Humanity hosts is the Collegiate Challenge program. Anthony Orofino, volunteer coordinator at Habitat for Humanity of coastal Fairfield County, explained the impact that this program has here in Connecticut.
The Collegiate Challenge program is a program that Habitat for Humanity International does, where we bring in colleges from outside of our area and then sometimes local colleges to come and work for an entire week here at the Habitat sites. And the energy that the Collegiate Challenge participants bring is something that we all need on the sites. You know, it's a lot of work, a lot of things that we're doing, and to see people with that much enthusiasm and want to when it comes to helping out makes a huge difference.
This spring marks the first Collegiate Challenge program since 2020. Our campus chapter of Habitat for Humanity was able to send 2 trips to North Carolina and South Carolina to spread pioneer pride to other communities. Cameron Connolly, current treasurer and future president of the club, describes this experience.
We do a mix of everything. In my experience, it's been more on the construction side, but this past year it's been more on the detail side of doing trim, painting, yard work, things of that nature. I feel like everyone's proud of themselves, but also so tired that it's hard to take the time to reflect on what they've done. So it's usually in the couple days after we get back that everyone's like, oh, we actually did that, and can actually realize like this is gonna change someone's life.
Homeowners are given the opportunity to work side by side with volunteers. Future Habitat homeowner Stephanie describes her experience with Habitat.
9 years ago, when I was working in a nursing home as a housekeeper, this lady told me about the program. She said I should go for it. She was telling me stuff about it and how she did. She tried 3 times to get it. I feel like I don't believe it. I'm doing the hours and doing what I have to do, but I'm still in shock. Like I'm still in shock. I can't believe that I'm gonna be getting home for me and my boys.
During COVID, the work that volunteers did was appreciated more than ever. Now that affiliates are slowly letting more volunteers in, Anthony urges everyone to get involved.
If you look around, help is needed. You may not know what your place is when it comes to volunteering. I would say start at Habitat and see how it goes. But there's so many different ways that you can get involved, and to know that you can make that big of a difference just by helping out in a small way is definitely empowering, and it makes a difference in your own life as well. So you're gaining something by helping volunteering personally, and you're also helping your community as well. So I always encourage it.
For The Pulse, Colleen Schaefer, Bridgeport, Connecticut.
After the break, learn more about the strength behind Sacred Heart athletes.
And later, a year in review at SHU with Provost Robin Cotton.
Welcome back to The Pulse.
Carly Strummel is here to talk about an important story. Carly?
Thanks, Brooke. Student athletes have some of the busiest schedules among college students, but how do they handle all the different responsibilities? I took a deeper look into the mental health of student athletes and how they handle it all. It's easy to celebrate success. As an athlete, you're taught from an early age to ride the highs and survive the lows. When looking in on the lives of college athletes, it's easy to spot the positives. However, sometimes the mental and physical struggles they face are not discussed.
There's a stigma around mental health within athletes specifically because we're taught to be strong, we're taught to work hard, we're taught to get through it, and I also think that there's a huge stigma around being like a mental player. I think that sometimes a player might be judged on how they act when they might be having a bad day.
The demanding lifestyle of a student athlete can become very overwhelming, and people sometimes find themselves struggling in ways they aren't used to. Collegiate athletes are 2% more likely than their non-athlete counterparts to experience severe mental illness. Recently, Stanford University star women's soccer player Katie Meyer took her own life under stresses of being a high-performance Division I athlete. Her teammates as well as family were very heartbroken and shocked by the loss of their positive and good-spirited daughter and friend.
She died by suicide. The last, couple days are like a parent's worst nightmare, and you don't wake up from it. So it's just horrific.
The close-knit family spoke often. Their final conversation with their daughter was just hours before she took her own life.
She was excited. She had a lot on her plate. She had a lot going on, but she was happy. She was in great spirits.
Through the words of her family and friends, Katie seemed to be anything but depressed, and she was a very strong girl. The stigma around athletes being too tough to ask for help is real. In the life of a student athlete, you find yourself facing different pressures and demands often. Carrying hopes and expectations of their campus and colleagues, they often face criticism while juggling many other obstacles.
I feel like being a student athlete can be and is actually very overwhelming because, we have a lot of homework to do. We have to keep our social life kind of going, and being able and trying to keep up with all the traveling and, practice, film and everything, and still be focused when you're performing your sport during practice is very hard, especially when, you don't play a lot. For people that don't play a lot, like me, I didn't play a lot. So it was even more overwhelming because I was trying to figure out ways to play and fit everything between, social life, homework, restaurant, family, friends, and everything.
Another common issue athletes find themselves facing is injury. When experiencing an injury that can shut you down from playing your sport you love or affect your day-to-day life, it is not always an easy roadblock to cope with.
So last year in the spring, I tore my ACL, MCL, meniscus, and also my quad that's connected to my hip bone. So in April, I got surgery on all 4 of those. As an athlete, you identify, yourself as an athlete, and although people say you're so much more than an athlete, and you find those things within yourself that you are more than an athlete, that's still a part of who you are, especially when you're in college and you're coming to the end. You want to hold on to those moments as much as you can. So when I got injured, I was just kind of taken back by the aspects that I didn't appreciate, being able to get away from my social life, my school, my family, whatever may be causing me stress, that outlet was taken away. So I think that's something that before I never really appreciated.
Sacred Heart Athletics has created a program called Heart to Heart in which athletes raise awareness about the importance of mental health in college athletes. Many Sacred Heart sports teams participate in Heart to Heart mental health awareness games throughout their seasons. If you would like to be involved in the program, email shoehearttoheart@gmail.com. Always remember, someone may be fighting a battle you know nothing about, and it is important to always be kind to one another. Together, we can break the stigma behind mental health. For The Pulse, Carly Strummel, Fairfield, Connecticut.
Managing over 30 Division I sports and more than 1,000 athletes is no easy task. That's why each athletic team at SHU is assigned a strength and conditioning coach. This position is often unknown to those not involved with collegiate athletics. Mia Santinelli talks with some of the coaches to share the impact they're making.
Strength and conditioning coaches are an essential part of each athletic team. For those who are unfamiliar, the role of these coaches are to help each athlete improve their performance in their respective sport. Strength coaches run weightlifting and conditioning sessions in the lower level of the pit for every D1 team at Sacred Heart. These organized lift sessions occur multiple times a week for each team and run the length of the entire academic year. These lift sessions start as early as 6 a.m., which means the coaches are here even earlier.
Early mornings. That's a huge thing, early mornings. And then being a grad student as well, that pretty much leaves late nights. So early mornings, late nights, and naps if I'm lucky.
I could be here from 6 to 6, I could be here from 6 to 1. I could go to maybe a game or two and try to make sure I see my athletes at their sports.
The strength and conditioning staff includes full-time and assistant coaches, graduate students, and interns, all of which have adopted a lifestyle where they can maximize their time spent with athletes both in and out of season. Strength coaches don't have the most glamorous and easygoing job, but the interest is sparked within those who have a personal connection to athletics and a passion to impact the lives of others. Olivia Kibrick is a first-year graduate assistant strength and conditioning coach who completed her undergrad at Ithaca College. She had always been involved in sports growing up, and due to some physical setbacks, she was able to recover and fuel her body through getting stronger and recognizing how to do that.
There were certain times where I didn't think I would be able to move in certain ways again, and through strength, that was that was now possible, and I wanted other people to have that same feeling, that feeling of being strong and being able to accomplish something that they didn't even think was possible.
Asa Britt is one of the assistant strength and conditioning coaches at Sacred Heart, who loves the appeal of working with athletes and getting to watch them improve over time.
What sparked my interest was being an athlete growing up, playing sports. You always try to find that it or extra edge that makes you a little bit better than someone else. And once I got into strength and conditioning about my junior year of high school, it's kind of something that stuck with me.
Asa completed his undergrad at Manhattan College before coming to SHU, and now is in charge of 4 teams: men's and women's soccer, men's basketball, and softball.
If I were to describe my team's personalities, a lot of them are bubbly, fun, but also very serious about what they're trying to get better at, and then very hardworking towards the things that we want to get done.
All of the strength and conditioning staff spends a tremendous amount of time with their teams, which allows them to create long-lasting bonds with their athletes.
Building a relationship is number one for me. I want them to know that they can trust me in the weight room, and just like once they build that trust, I feel like their own confidence in the weight room kind of just goes off from there.
Liv works with equestrian, men's and women's cross country, women's rowing, swimming and diving, football, and also assists with women's basketball.
Like they are the thing that gets me going for the day and keeps me going throughout the whole day. I feed off their energy, and hopefully they feed off of mine. And just the relationships that I create with them, that's like the best part to look forward to every day. Wouldn't rather be doing anything else.
Alyssa Kipperman is one athlete that has been directly inspired by her strength staff and plans to pursue a master's in exercise and sports science.
I think that working with athletes is something really special, and to help them grow not only physically but mentally, I think is really important. I think I have a really good relationship with my strength coach. He has always been there to, not only push myself but all of my teammates. Not only is he an important part of the team, he wants to be involved with every single individual, and I think that's really important, creating that connection.
The day in the life of a strength coach seems never ending, but what they get out of it makes their job everything they could hope for.
The fact that in 2 to 3 years, or even 3 to 4 years, if I see a kid graduate, and I can say that I helped prepare them for the next part of their life and help prepare them for what comes next. I always try to tell my athletes, yes, you get coached hard, yes, it's serious, but I'm not doing it because I want you to just be great in the weight room. I'm doing this because I want you to be great outside of the weight room and in life. So just being able to see a kid grow over 2 to 3 years is kind of what really makes me happy to be a strength coach.
Follow at Sacred Heart Strength on Instagram to learn about the rest of the strength and conditioning staff, and check out some of the athletics games to see how the work in the weight room has translated to the game. For The Pulse, I'm Mia Sansanelli, Fairfield, Connecticut.
When we get back, an in-studio interview with Provost Robin Cotton.
We'll be right back.
After all your hard work, the studying, practices, and rehearsals, you deserve the best for what's next. The best in Connecticut higher education. Outstanding nursing and health professions programs, premier learning facilities and world-class tech labs, a nationally ranked business school, modern residential, social, and recreational facilities, championship D1 athletics, and pro-level performing arts. Make your next step the best step. Apply now to Sacred Heart University.
Welcome back. Up next, Maisie Carvalho sat down with Provost Robin Cotton here in the studio to talk about this year's accomplishments and things she's looking forward to for the next academic year.
Hi, Provost Cotton. How are you?
Good. Good to be here.
Thanks for coming. We really appreciate having you here, and we're just excited to learn more about the wrap-up of the year and some things that students can look forward to next year.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
What are some of the things that you've accomplished this year that were part of your goal setting that you're really proud of?
Well, the goals are team goals, and we've done a lot this year. Looking back, it's been an eventful year. We started last summer kind of putting in place a strategic planning process for academic affairs and getting faculty working together, strategizing together, cohering around some priorities in academic affairs, such as academic excellence and DEIB, and how we're going to grow graduate education and strengthen even existing programs. And so all of that is moving forward.
That's good.
Yeah.
Progress is good.
Yes.
So there is a DEI position, and we have someone in the position right now. Can you talk a little bit about who she is and where that position is going to lead to?
So right now it's an interim position. We are prepared to launch a national search for the interim's replacement for the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer, and we're going to post that job ad this week.
Oh my
so
gosh.
stay tuned. So Amanda Morass is she wears many hats. Some of you might know her as a professor of sociology.
Right.
She was the associate dean in the College of Arts and Sciences for 5 years, and now she's serving as associate provost for teaching and learning. And temporarily, she's also serving as interim chief diversity and inclusion officer.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
What are some goals that you and your office have for the 2022-2023 academic year?
Okay, many. I think in general terms, we've talked about this before, Maisie, but Sacred Heart has seen unprecedented growth in a very short amount of time, which is wonderful. It requires us to catch up to our growth in a lot of ways. And this is a great set of problems to have. I wouldn't even call them problems. They're challenges, and they're great challenges because they're, reflective of our success. And we want to continue that momentum, continuing to build opportunities for students, whether it be internships, whether it be collaborative, research endeavors with faculty, co-presenting at conferences, co-publishing, you name it. So we want to continue to do that. And part of our ability to do that is make sure we have the infrastructure in place, the support for students, whether it be academic support, student affairs, you name it.
And you said unprecedented, and it just made me think of how kind of ironic that word is in a way, because in such an unprecedented time, we had incredible growth. And just as a senior here, looking back on my freshman year, not only did COVID change so much, but the campus itself changed so much in a positive way. So
it's been incredible. And, the landscape of higher education in this country has changed dramatically. And, we have been bucking trends, and, we want to take nothing for granted and rest on no laurels, which is what we do here. But it really is astounding. I have friends and colleagues across the country who are at places where, they're shrinking, right? And that comes with another whole set of challenges.
Yeah.
So we want to not take our success for granted and keep moving forward.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you envision Sacred Heart University in 10 years, what are some things you see on campus? What are some things you see within the student population and really just the infrastructure of Sacred Heart?
10 years from now? We've talked about this before. I look at what's going to change and what I hope will stay the same. Right. And I think we've modernized the campus magnificently, and I think, we'll keep that up and keep nurturing that facilities-wise. I think our student body will continue to grow and diversify, but what will stay the same is that culture, that SHU ethos that we are just starting to formally articulate and codify, but that everyone feels, right? And I've had parents and prospective students. I knew I was coming to Sacred Heart once I got on campus, once I started to talk to people, once I felt the community. That we need to not take for granted, right? That requires nurturing and intentionality to keep that going, and that's what makes us us. So that will be here in 10 years as well.
Right. Well, thanks so much for coming down.
And, it's my pleasure.
Chatting, and I'm sad to leave for sure, but I look forward to coming back and seeing all the wonderful things.
Well, we want to hear what happens. We want to hear your story.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Please do come back.
Thanks, Provost Gordon.
Thank you.
Up next, a profile on one of SHU's most beloved professors.
And a send-off from the class of 2022. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Pulse.
Professor Utterback, or as he prefers to be called, Dr. Joe, wears many hats, including a celebrated pianist, performer, composer, and original artist. He says he's had a drink with just about everyone on Broadway. Here is Olivia LaRosa with Dr. Joe.
These piano-playing hands belong to no other than Dr. Joe Utterback. He is a professor at Sacred Heart University who teaches in the music department, but his accomplishments extend far beyond that. His contribution to the music department have led to the creation of new courses such as History of Broadway being offered. Since Dr. Joe was a child, he has had a love for music. He decided to pursue it as a career and earned his Doctor of Musical Arts degree from the University of Kansas, alongside degrees in classical piano performance from Wichita State University. His devotion to music has led him to his passion for educating youth. For the past 30 years, he has taught the curriculum he writes at SHU. Dr. Joe shares his favorite parts about teaching.
Having students react positively to music, give the feeling that I'm actually getting through to them what I'm trying to do. It isn't so much that they have to like everything, but if there's a response to it. To me, that it means I'm being successful as a teacher, and then they're being successful as students, responding to the old guy.
Dr. Joe does not even need to refer to notes because he teaches from memory throughout class, sharing his knowledge and experiences of being in the music industry for over 50 years. A celebrated American jazz pianist, composer, and recording artist who is a featured performer in the United States, having performed all over are the many titles Dr. Joe holds. Some of his many accomplishments are that he has performed at the Tony Awards galas and the Empire State Building Christmas Entertainment. He has over 30 recording albums that cover styles of blues, ballads, jazz, and Broadway. He has over 600 compositions, too, that reflect his passion and energy. He has several recordings for Connoisseur Society and Jazz Muse Company. His music has been performed in venues such as Richardson Hall, Harvard, and Princeton University Chapel. Dr. Joe has been chosen to perform and teach at national and regional conferences for musical organizations, as well as to share his musical gift. Dr. Joe understands the impact music can have on one's life and shares the impact and what music means to him.
For me, it's a way to express things that cannot be expressed in any other way. Music is, with art now, you have a work of art, and there it is, and you can look at it and see it. You can come back and look. Music is like temporal. It flashes, and then it goes away. You only have the memory of having heard and been there to see the creation of it. So it is a very special kind of temporal expression. So I can open up a part of myself and lay myself open in front of everyone. There's a tremendous honesty.
A true inspiration to his students. I end this segment just as Dr. Joe ends every one of his classes by playing the piano. I'm Olivia LaRosa, reporting from Fairfield, Connecticut.
To conclude the final episode of The Pulse this year, Sophie Camizzi asked seniors what advice they have for the incoming freshman class. Here's what they had to say.
All right, so if I had to describe my experience at Sacred Heart in one word, I'd probably say fast.
Probably fun.
Change. I'd say awesome.
Memorable.
Unforgettable.
Eventful.
Definitely been an experience.
Family.
Growth.
Life-changing. Is that 2 words? There's a dash.
Make the most of it because you never know what's going to happen while you're here.
You're in control of what you feel, what you can do.
Get out of your comfort zone.
Form really close relationships with your professors.
Take advantage of every opportunity you can because it goes by extremely fast and you'll miss it when it's gone.
Go out, get involved, and make yourself known on campus because that'll only give you more friends and just make your whole college experience a lot better.
Try to make friends the first week.
Open yourselves to any experience that comes your way and to take it all in because the 4 years goes by faster than you would think.
Make sure you have a lot of balance. School's important, but so is making memories and new friends.
Don't get 3 minors.
Don't let hiccups along the way prevent you from moving forward with things.
just absorb every single moment that you have on campus, like with the people that you're surrounding yourself with, because the time goes so quickly.
Make sure you're doing things that you love, because that's where you're going to meet your best friends, and try and do everything that you can.
To enjoy every moment. Don't stress over getting a bad grade here and there. It's going to happen.
Get involved in clubs, sports, activities, Greek life. Just get yourself involved and out there, and just talking to people and making friends is the best part.
Be outgoing, put yourself out there, and it's going to be a great 4 years.
And my advice for the incoming class is just to enjoy every day as much as possible. Shane, what is your advice?
I would say don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone.
That's great advice.
Now, before we go, we would like to thank all of our producers who worked on the show this year.
And our teaching assistant, Matt Krecky, who is always there to help with the story.
And, most importantly, the man, the myth, the legend, Professor Alacastro, for being our guiding light all year.
Well, that's all for today.
Best of luck to all the seniors on their new adventures.
I'm Brooke Slavensky.
And I'm Shane Haney.
We'll see you next year on The Pulse.